live yet? I never know. It says testing my broadcast. If you can see me right now, please be patient. It says my stream will start shortly. Are we rolling? I don't see any emails coming up yet, or any little text coming up yet. Hello, my name is Todd Standing. I'm the man who takes people out into the wilderness, either shows them a Sasquatch or has them live interact with a Sasquatch. Done this on dozens and dozens of occasions now. And we are live doing my February 15th show. Hello, Frank. Sorry I'm a little tardy, everybody. Computers are so much fun, aren't they? Thank you for tuning in, Amanda. I told you I'd be on. Thank you for the heads up. So, as always, I can talk about Sasquatch for hours and hours and hours, but I love it that you guys have the most amazing, fantastic questions. And what's going on with Sasquatch right now? The Sasquatch are freaking cold. Where I live, it's minus 20 or colder at night. And I guarantee you, wherever the Sasquatch are, they're eating meatsicles, unless they've gathered berries, which I highly, highly doubt. I doubt that they are able to... I know the natives collected bannock and did cool stuff like that. I cannot imagine a Sasquatch. Where I live in these areas, I can't imagine them just eating every berry they put to their mouth. I can't imagine them gathering berries up and putting them and drying them. Of course, I have no idea. I mean, I've seen them do such incredible, amazing things. Would they be capable of that? Absolutely. But why would they when they can just get fat and eat the berries? I mean, and if you knew, I mean, the berries out here, the strawberries are right on the ground. Saskatoon bushes are up a little bit, but they're pretty rare. The bear berries that the bears eat, they're also called low bush blueberries. There's a bunch of different names for them. They're really on the ground. They're really hard to get at, and with big fingers and pulling them, I can imagine even the amount of calories it would take a calorie to put 2 calories in your mouth, So, hello, Billings, Montana. Hello from all over the world. My goodness, we get people from... Amanda's from the UK. We get people from Australia, all over Europe. It's awesome to have all your questions from all over the world. I'd like to think of this. I mean, I just do Sasquatch research in North America only. I was just on the phone with some people from Australia. They're having a really hard time there. My heart goes out to all the damage being done through the forest fires. We had some bad damage happening like that here in North America just a couple of years ago. It was really, really bad for us. So it's terrible in Australia. If you can, maybe give a donation to help out. The Red Cross is always such an amazing, fantastic institution to help out. Salvation Army as well are always fantastic. I had a grandpa who was in World War II, and the number one thing he told me was, you go do stuff for the Salvation Army, because they made, I'm pretty sure it was the Salvation Army, because they made a bigger difference than anybody else. They did more important things than anybody else. So that's always been very touching to me. Hello, Portland, Oregon. Active Anger. Hey, Todd, Ontario. So look at this, just all over. I guess, the majority of our peeps here are going to be from from North America, right? So what's some questions here? Thanks for staying up so late. Dear UK view. Yeah, Amanda, it's really late. So when do I start my spring expeditions? In June. So working on that right now, organizing all that stuff right now. I've got a few new people, but to be honest, just the 90% of my expeditioners can't wait to come back and are extremely excited to come back. And, that's a pretty high number. It's pretty fantastic and amazing. So, I'd say 30% of the expeditioners are friends of mine now. So, but they're really important to me this year. We're going to do lots of great work this year. I'm really excited about it. It seemed, I got some mediocre footage that I'm putting, did I say February? Hello, Todd, January. You said February? Did I really say February? I'll have to fix that. Anyways, yeah, I got some new footage this year that's very mediocre, but you do the best you can. And, what's frustrating? I was just thinking about this today. One of my first expeditions, I shot 2 Sasquatch videos, video 2 and video 3. And I was going into an extremely hot spot, and it was preemptively all organized by a guy who's been researching Sasquatch for over a decade at that point, a biologist, and he knew a tremendous amount about them. So there was lots of recon done. It was organized by somebody else who's to this day a great mentor of mine. But I was able to get those two pieces of fantastic footage in those 2 short days. It seems that's the way it goes. Like video 8 and a thermal footage. I mean, I shot that on the same bloody day, you know? And then, video 5, there's no one video 5. There's, 10 different shots that I got of that. Was it 10? I don't know. There's multiple different shots I got of that Sasquatch over a time period. So, I don't know. Is that the way it goes? I don't know. And with these expeditions, I'm doing things differently. I'm going out with people. Does that make it worse or better? I don't know. It's good learning lessons. The people that I take out are amazing. And this is from Lindsay Bay. This was your question, Lindsay. When do I start doing expeditions? But I know it is what it is. I can't do expeditions. I can't be a full-time Sasquatch researcher without the expeditioners. They pay for me to go out on these expeditions. I couldn't do it without them. So about 50% of my ability to survive is through the expeditioners right now. I'm going to keep working on my YouTube channel and get that kicking ass again like I had before. And that's why I'm doing these things. Somebody gave a $20 donation. Thank you so much. If you want to give a donation, though, it's discoveringbigfoot.org. Who gave the donation? I'll find out in a minute. I'm just scrolling down. There's so many things to go through. So many great questions. Hunter Johnson, I'm from Louisiana and want to know if you heard of any Bigfoot beings here. Absolutely. Yes. I think it was in a bayou. Actually, just recently in Louisiana, somebody sent me a photo that was nice. Very, very nice. I was, something just popped. It's a blurry, dark creature. And the important thing with any photos or videos you get, guys, you have to have the during, the Sasquatch movement, and then after to know that black image isn't there anymore. So people just have one photograph. It's worthless. Even if you have to go back and get that darn shot. You have to go back. It's just so imperative, because what if it is a big black rock? What if it is a stump or something that just has that look to it? But anyways, and the guy that took the photograph, it was with his cell phone. Just what he's telling me, again, all this stuff, SoCal Forest Ninjas, I'm sure he's out here. All these things that ring true. He said this was happening. You heard these sounds. You heard things moving that didn't make any sense. His traps were getting moved around, and it's nothing that a human could have done. Then he saw these tracks, and he realized that these were big Sasquatch tracks. So this gentleman in Louisiana is being very secretive, and but yeah, so Louisiana, absolutely. Funny you mentioned that. So actually, in truth, I just got off the phone I talked to 3 people today. I'll talk to 10 people tomorrow. So I'm talking to a lot of people. I'm breaking down a lot of stuff, going through a lot of evidence. Amanda's got me so freaking busy with all the stuff that we have to do. So it's a lot. And it's the YouTube channel is the key. This channel is the key. When I get my videos out there, when I'm doing lots of stuff on YouTube, I get lots of people talking to me. And so this YouTube channel is very, very important. Stephen, big last name, Zach. If you start to gift them, even only a small handful at times, do you think they might want to start gifting them food if you start gifting them even only a small handful of times, do you think they might want you to start gifting them food even if you never have? I understand what you're saying. I do gifts, Stephen, like giving gifts to the native people. When you go and you have an elder, you give him a gift. He's giving you something, you give them something. It's just what I do. I've been in an area where I've had Sasquatch around for a lot, and then I just started gifting them. It's a respect thing to me, and it's nothing like bears. You can't gift a bear. A bear's going to kill you. You're dealing with a highly intelligent being, and it's a respect thing. And I think highly of doing that. So yes, I would say yes. It's just showing respect. And when you do these things, you got to move around. Even Stephen, if you know Sasquatch are there and you're having, success with them, Give them the gift out of respect, because you're a student and you want to learn from them. Because they're the masters of the wilderness and that's their home. They live there and you're a visitor. These are the intentions you need to do things as, and you'll move differently based on that. When I take an apple and I put it on a tree, I use my left hand, my heart hand, and I feel good energy onto that apple. I'm excited visualizing that a Sasquatch is going to come take that, and the Sasquatch is going to take a bite out of that delicious apple and he's going to eat it. It's going to nourish his body. I don't know why, but that's just the way I work. It helps me be passionate. It's not very scientific, but pure science, the pure scientists are not winning this. They're not winning this. I love science. I adore science. Science is the foundation on which I thrive for this discovery. However, this is a discovery. It's new. There are brand new things with this species that have never happened before. There is no man-like primate on this planet like a Sasquatch. They're at a whole other level of amazing and spectacular. So you have to do things differently. And, think that way. And by all means, give them those gifts. They'll appreciate it. I'd like to think even in terms of psychology, as I'm driving in, they recognize my truck. Are they salivating, thinking, oh, Todd's going to give us that gift, right? Maybe they are. So at least I feel that they are. I've felt that excitement, and that's just what I do. And so I think it's a really good thing. Make sure that bears aren't getting it, though. Make sure that animals aren't getting it, because that's a bad deal, right? You really have to pay attention to that stuff. I don't put out a game camera. Only one time in the episode of Survivor Man, we got the top of the head of a Sasquatch. That's the only one time it's worked out with the game cams. The problem with a game cam, you must understand this. You're being sneaky. You're being distrustful. It's bad energy. You're playing a game with them. You're trying to trick them, right? You're not putting out that game cam thinking, oh, this is wonderful. No, it's not. It's a trick. You're pointing it to get a photograph of them. You're doing it without their knowledge. They're watching you do this, most likely. They're probably there watching you going, what is this little thing? What is this? Why is he doing that? Your energy is going to change. Your feelings are going to change. It's going to be damaging. I suggest, this is just in my experience, don't do the game cam to start out with. At one point, let's say you're having great success like I was, then put a freaking game cam out and suddenly you know what happened with me? No more success. That is science, my friend. That is a hypothesis, and it's proven. Every time I put out a game cam, they never take the apples. Except with the Radium Sasquatch with Survivor Man. But the Radium Sasquatch, those guys, they were batshit crazy about the gifts I put out. Like, they were just running through, and they were excited, and they were making sounds, they were communicating. It was amazing. That episode of Survivor Man, that was a Sasquatch came up to us within 10 yards of us, picked up a rock and clacked it on another rock really loudly and woke us up. In the morning he put a boom on the ground. He left a track there for us. And we didn't cast it because it was on the mountain and it was at an angle like this, and you can't really cast a track like that. But he smashed his foot in the ground. He clacked the rock. He left the rock there. You can see the little marks on the rock that he was tapping. This is Sasquatch. How exciting is that? That happened on national TV with one of the greatest survival television experts in the world, Les Stroud. And nobody really cared. It wasn't a really big deal. It's so frustrating to have that kind of... I got Survivor Man on multiple occasions within 20, 50 yards of a Sasquatch more than 5 times in 4 different episodes. We got footage of the top of the head of one, and that's very significant, guys. That footage of Survivor Man's in his episode, if you haven't seen it, it's the last Radium episode he did with me. Holy crap, is that ever exciting. Like, the success that we're generating is so exciting. I took people out this year. Nearly over 40% of people looked and said, oh my God, I see a Sasquatch. There it is. Those odds are amazing. Amazing. 80% of people had some kind of live interaction. And every time a sighting or a live interaction happens, we go look at the tracks. We go figure out what happened. We go look at the breaks. We go, it's real. Like, that's why people know. The expeditioners that I take out, they have no freaking doubt they saw a Sasquatch. They'll go home to all their skeptics and people will go, oh, whatever, you saw one. He goes, you shut your mouth. I was there. I was in the hella batshit middle of nowhere, and Todd Standing was taking me everywhere. I don't hide anything. I show it all, That's a great thing about expeditioners is they'll want to do things and they'll push me to go to places that I didn't really want to go, and amazing stuff happens. Amazing discoveries are made that I never would have thought of. That's the power of cooperation. That's why I keep doing these expeditions, because they've enriched my life so dramatically. So, there's a lot going on here. So let's get back to you guys' amazing, fantastic questions. Holy God, there's like 100 questions in here now. So, and thank you very much for your donation, John Rodriguez. Um, it's greatly appreciated. Did you have a question, John? I'd love to answer it. Again, and John, just send us an email, and I'll give you some downloads of some really cool stuff that I have. So really appreciate that donation, guys. That's why I'm a Sasquatch researcher, guys. That's why I'm here doing this stuff, busting my ass, working so hard every day, going through all. You know how much crap I have to go through? You know how many dumbasses call me and say ridiculous things and are so full of. Most people are full of crap. It's just they're totally BSing me, and I don't buy it for a second. So it's a lot of garbage to go through. So Jeff Riz asked me something that I get emotional about. Do you still see Jake? And the answer is no, not at all. I'm at this point I'm extremely convinced he's gone, and it breaks my heart. So yeah, I could cry over that because I had such a good relationship with him. He was such a cool Sasquatch. He was coming around. Other people were seeing him that had nothing to do with me. There's a video I did about the three ladies that had an eyewitness encounter with Jake. It was definitely Jake. People that see Jake say something. There's something special. There's markings on Jake, and they say it. I never talk about it publicly. They'll say he had this on him. I go, that's my boy. That's Jake. I'll always know him. And yeah, I'd say with 99.9% certainty, he is absolutely gone from my research area, and heart is broken over it. He's got a younger brother that's coming around though, and his younger brother's getting big, really big. So yeah, and I don't know how I would ever find Jake again. He's gone. He's not going to be around here, and he's gone. Like maybe he could have went hundreds, 1,000 miles. I don't know. What does a Sasquatch do when he goes off on his own? Well, a gorilla will do that, right? When a black back becomes a gray back, he gets kicked out of the troop. He'll go be on his own. They hang out with other males sometimes. They start a male group, an all male group, or he'll try to pick up straggling females. Because when a daughter of a dominant Sasquatch grows up in a troop, or even a gorilla troop, when his daughter grows up, she got to leave because she can't breed with the dad. So the little girl will leave her daddy at one point, and maybe Jake will pick her up. So I'm just saying that this is likely what happens in the Sasquatch groups that are male dominated societies, right? So yeah. So Mike Blatcher, hey Todd, I've had an encounter, but I'm open-minded. I've never had an encounter. My question is your opinion about how many Sasquatch do you think exist in the world? Man, that's a loaded question. I was just talking about that. The Kreider gentleman, David, sorry, I'm forgetting his name. I'm not getting much sleep. He's a really cool guy. It's very disrespectful. The Kreider, awesome dude that does some cool stuff. I believe he's in New Mexico. He's got some really cool stuff going on. He's been on TV a lot. Asked that question. There was some really cool debate. I don't think more than 15,000. So, but I always try to be conservative. If I think a Sasquatch is 1,000 pounds, I'll say 900. If I think he's 9'5", I'll say 9 feet tall, because it's so hard, right? So, and there's some pretty impressive, numbers. Like people are talking like 100,000 Sasquatch, and wow, that's offensively shocking to me. I think their numbers are pretty low. But then when you start looking in the northern United States and all the way up through Canada and all the provinces and then up into Alaska, the potential for the numbers are big. But it's very clear to me that this is a rare species. They have big territories. I think their numbers in the troops are low, less than 20 individuals in a group. And, so what, just spread out. And so I just, that's just my opinion is 15,000 is a big number though, right? It's not just some little scrappy, and I worked hard on that with John Bennernagel and another biologist friend of mine. We worked hard deriving those numbers based on the black bear populations and other biological, ideas. The fact that there are less bears in areas where there are less salmon runs, right? You're going to have more bears, bigger bears. So the bears will do different things when there's, 4 salmon runs a year where they just get totally incredibly fat and then just live off that fat for an extended amount of time. So we made, even for that calculation, areas where there's salmon going to be more Sasquatch than areas where the brown bears are grizzly bears. I don't know if you're aware of this, but they are now biologically, thanks to indigenous people like me, we have grizzly bears where I live. There are brown bears along the coast. Coastal brown bears they're the same subspecies, but the coastal bears are just bigger, and they have different behaviors because the bears that I have, the grizzly bears as we call them out here, the silver tips that we have, are a little smaller, but they're faster, and they're more spread out because there's less abundance here. But yeah, we we love our grizzly bears out here. They're beautiful, totally beautiful. The silver tip grizzly bears that I took photographs of, it's on my Instagram page. Very proud of. So, Hunter Johnson, Todd, first and foremost, I believe. Oh, we did that one. Okay, what's another good question here? Hey Todd, I've never had an encounter. I just did that one. How many? Sorry. Do you think Sasquatch live and visit hot springs frequently? Oh, that's a good. I think they'd be enamored with hot springs, right? Yeah, I think they'd be definitely. I do. I love hot springs. So, and real hot springs, like right out of the rivers and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sure they would. I mean, the Sasquatch love their homes and love their habitat, right? So, and yeah, they're just not afraid of water. That I've never seen them around lakes that are deep too much. It's usually just rivers and stuff, and they could manage those things really easy. So, hello Clay, hello Carrie, Hunter Johnson. But he had a bad review of you. Can you tell me about why he has animosity towards you? So, Hunter Johnson, who are you talking about? Somebody had a bad review of me? Yeah, I don't know. So, hi Clay. Who is it you're mentioning? Sorry, there's so many of these little questions here. I don't know why people have bad review. I don't know. A lot of people are jealous. I don't really care about the animosity and stuff like that. Um, Basically, you need to know this about me. So I'll pick the biggest name you could think of. Jeff Meldrum, John Benedigo. Those were the biggest names, period, in Bigfoot. The icons. Took them out, showed them Sasquatch. Okay? Then I heard about Survivor Man. In my opinion, he was the best in the world to go out and use his survival and film skills. He's a professional filmmaker. And he's got survival experience with cameras. And that's a big deal. Knowing how to use your cameras out in the wilderness through the weather and the wet and batteries, that's huge. Took him out, showed him a Sasquatch. Multiple occasions. Right? So that's just what I do. If I find somebody and I think they're amazing, and like Jeff Meldrum, he's an icon. He's brilliant. He's incredible. He's an amazing man. I can't say enough good things about the guy. I just admire him so much. And so, and he'll have differing opinions and different views, and you know, so I always come from the perspective that I know my footage is real, so I defend it, and I'll try to hypothesize things that lean towards my footage being real. I'm not going to lie. I know it's real. What do you want me to say? So people that are convinced it's not real for whatever their reasoning is will find holes to go into with it. But all that stuff, guys, just BS. I take people out and show them Sasquatch. I showed Jeff Meldrum a Sasquatch, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I took Professor, PhD, Jeff Meldrum out into the wilderness. He's a professor of anatomy and anthropology at Idaho State University, and showed him a Sasquatch in 3 days. After showing him tracks, tree breaks, structures, apples taken, all these things, just like I talk about in the documentary. Boom, and he saw a Sasquatch. So, and he knows darn well he saw a Sasquatch. We live interacted with the Sasquatch. It came around. It was smashing around in the bush. It was vividly, clearly there. He looked over in that direction. He saw the Sasquatch come out and move. I found the trackways. There couldn't be more substantiation of it. And that was the goal. The goal wasn't to film a Sasquatch. I've filmed them. The goal is let him see a Sasquatch. And really, that's probably the biggest problem with my expeditions is what's the goal? To show people Sasquatch? Most of the expeditioners don't even come with cameras. They'll tell me right straight, I'm never going to get footage like yours. I just want to see it. So that's the goal. They're the boss. They're paying for the expedition. They're paying for my time out there. They get what they want. And it's high. It's a high number. Most of the expeditioners don't even want a camera, aren't interested in cameras. and I love it. It's amazing. They think the cameras will decrease the likelihood of them seeing a Sasquatch, and I agree. So do they carry cameras? No, they do not. And is it the right decision? I think it is the smart right decision. So, and when you've made the time and the commitment to come out and do an expedition with me, you know, they're not my customer though. They don't feel like my customer. They feel like colleagues. They are colleagues. So the customer in an expeditioner is, did they enjoy the food? Were they comfortable with their sleeping bag? You know what I mean? That's the customer. That they pay for the food, and I want it to be good. I want it to be healthy. So that's customer. But as far as the expedition goes, they're colleagues. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to listen. I listen to their perspectives, and they show me their love and their passion. So, Smedley says, when does my new film come out? As soon as I get it done. I'm just working on it. The distributor is salivating like this. Film. And I have so much stuff, so much footage. Hello from New Jersey, Raymond. And it's hard though, because doing a movie all by yourself is a lot of work. Understand vividly that movie Discovering Bigfoot, it was edited, filmed, directed, produced, written by me. I mean, I did that whole movie. I did the freaking sound. I did the graphics for the little lower thirds, and I guess there's really very little graphics in there, but it was so much work, so much work, so much work. It's tens of thousands of hours. So, and I have to do it. Nobody else gets it. To pay an editor charge, they're $200 an hour for an editor. Put him in for 1,000 hours. You do the math. That's 20 grand, and he won't do the job that I'll do because he doesn't really get what's going on. I was there. I filmed it. I can write the story of what happened because I know what happened because I was there. So they'll confuse things, and then they want to do little tricks and stuff, and I don't do tricks. My footage is as it happened. I learned that from Survivor Man, and I have the privilege of working with Jeff Meldrum and Survivor Man, and I would work with John Bitternagel again if he hadn't passed away, because I was honest and showed integrity in my footage and in my films. What you see is how it happened. No twisting of the words, no special editing tricks, because you can make someone look like a douchebag in the editing thing, right? So as it happens, have a good day. And yeah. Dan Priest asks, any handicapped? Funny you mention that, Dan, because if you're talking about a handicapped Sasquatch, there's I heard about there's a Sasquatch footprint that was discovered in Washington. He was a handicapped or something. And in the one I'm working on right now, today, is a small chubby Sasquatch that was limping. Something was wrong with him. I don't know what it was. It didn't seem his foot was damaged because I saw the track, but he was limping. The native man that told me that I would been working with for years, it told me that the Sasquatch that will come around and take your apples is the young limping guy. He's always taking the apples and he's apple crazy. And the native guy was totally right. Man, I would literally, I'm doing this in the documentary. I'll tell you about it right now. I'd put an apple up and I'd turn around and walk away. I'd get maybe 20 yards and I'd hear, whoosh. I'd look and the trees would be shaking, the apple's gone. And I did that like 3 times, where I'd watch and the Sasquatch just knew. And this is like an injured, no, he's limping. He just limps. He's been limping for years. So, and he's just taking those apples like a monster. And eventually that's how I got footage, is I put my camera down, pointed it at the apple, and he came along. It was my last apple. Couldn't believe it. He'd taken them all. And I wasn't able to get great footage, but that very, very last apple, man, he just came along and snapped it up, and I walked away, but I had to walk far. He was very concerned about the camera, I think. The northeast. So northeast, are you talking Maine? Yes. If you're talking northeast North America, yes, absolutely. I'm working with native people. One of the videos I have up on YouTube in front of the game camera with the fuzzy-headed looking potentially Sasquatch, that's in the northeast of North America. So, but yeah, totally. Hey, there's SoCal Force Ninjas. Hey, so he's talking about go back. YO Crow is, you got to go back at the same time. Rule out shadows and light. Absolutely. Rule out so many things. When you go back, even if you go back and you got video of a Sasquatch, you should see tracks on the ground, right? or there should be some kind of disturbances. And for goodness sake, if it's dense bush and you saw a Sasquatch in a spot, phenotype of a Sasquatch hair, the physical look of it is very specific under a light microscope. I can break it down. So Jeff Meldrum taught me that, and because there's some interesting stuff happening with the hair. They have hair, not fur. Sasquatch hair, just like us, or hair similar to us. But anyways, go and look for more evidence. Follow the trackway if you can. If you're not a great tracker, imagine the direction you saw him. Imagine the direction he'd be moving or where he came from. Go look around. Go try to find more, learn stuff. Because Sasquatch are going to do different behaviors in different places. Absolutely. So I don't know how the California, I never saw a freaking tree break when I was down there. And I tried to do a little one. I couldn't because the trees just bend all over the place. You can make circles, loops of the freaking trees. They will not snap like the trees that we have up in Washington and north from Washington. The dominant species we have are the Douglas fir and the spruce trees, and they snap easily, so, and there's virtually no Douglas firs and spruce trees in California where I was at, right? So what do the Sasquatch do? And there's going to be different things, and I want to learn that information. So SoCal Forest Ninjas, Sasquaholic, Aldo in Connecticut, hi. And then Steven says, in the last of your videos, you said sometimes not to acknowledge them. I've been to the area where I've had encounters since then. They showed up. I didn't acknowledge them. They got real curious. Yeah. Right? It's just, I hate to say this, but okay, so I was a doorman in nightclubs, and I did it for years. This is when I was going through university. And I'd meet girls and stuff like that, whatever. It's a busy nightclub. I spent a night as a bartender where there's a bar in front of me, and I'm really busy. Not like a doorman. There's nothing in front of me when I'm a doorman. Women have total access to me, all they want, and they come around a little bit. When I became a bartender, every girl in the nightclub that I'd seen gave me their phone numbers, were fighting to get to me because there was a big bar in front of me and I was busy. I was ignoring them and they couldn't get to me and they wanted me more. Man, are Sasquatch like that. Holy crap. You go searching around for them. Any little noise you hear, you go investigate it. You're in trouble. They're going to know. Let's just imagine you're a Sasquatch. You can't make a stick snap and then have the jerk come up the hill and investigate you every freaking time. You can't. That won't work. It's too much. You're chasing them too much, and they're not going to like that. So just if you hear a Sasquatch, and Stephen, if you're really having that happen, they're really there, just acknowledge them, smile, talk to them. Hi. When they get close, maybe talk to them. I don't know. But communicate. If they snap a tree, maybe you want to snap a tree back, but just play with it. I don't know. You know what, Stephen? You're in a discovery process. It's a discovery. And Sasquatch are going to be totally different in every place. But I've seen this quite universally, is just ignore them a little bit. And even I heard about a guy in California, a Sasquatch showed itself to him. Came right out and threw a log on the ground and walked right out on him. He couldn't believe it. And then I started talking to him. The guy's deaf. He can't barely hear. So the Sasquatch, and he's a really good wilderness guy. He loves the wilderness and all this stuff. He'd been around this place a ton. And he'd seen weird stuff and things that get thrown at him. But one day a Sasquatch just walked right out. And it was a weird thing because literally the Sasquatch took a big tree trunk that was busted, threw it on the ground. And he picked up that because he's so hard of hearing. He barely heard it. But the Sasquatch threw this big log on the ground and exploded all over the place and literally just walked back into the bush. He's like, oh my God, Sasquatch. So he calls me and tells me this. And I tell you, that Sasquatch has been coming around him forever. He had no idea because he's so deaf, right? So, and now look at the success he's having, right? So he probably had his sighting was at 30 yards. He showed me a picture of where he was and where he saw the Sasquatch and the tracks and the breakup on the ground. That Sasquatch made a walk. I'm decently convinced that even the trackway he showed me, that looked like a real Sasquatch is kind of cranking a quick circle because they're so big. And it was a big Sasquatch too. But yeah, it's funny. And I'm tremendously happy to hear that they got real curious. And yeah, just be coy, they play games with us, right? They're not coming out. So, and that makes you fun too, right? Gotta be fun. Fun makes them really exciting. And I don't know how to explain this to you. Like I don't know, pick a berry and run and pick another berry and play with the trees, laugh, be happy, sit and stare at the sky and watch the clouds and giggle. They love that stuff. Remember when Jeff Meldrum, right before he saw a Sasquatch, had that guy laughing his butt off. He was laughing out loud. Ha 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 ha. Boom, Sasquatch came. So, opposite to that is, one day I was sitting around a fire, and a wonderful gentleman told us a horrible story about how his little boy died of cancer. No more Sasquatch for the rest of the expedition, 3 more days, and we did everything perfectly, and they were coming around like crazy. But he told us a story that brought us to tears, literally, and and no more Sasquatch. And then this year, I'm going through crazy stuff personally. It's been a really hard year for me, and I should have had way better success this year, guys. I cannot sit here with a whole heart and tell you you didn't have Todd Standing in 2019. He was gone. He was in another place. He's still in that place a little bit, but I didn't get my research done. I know I would have done so much better if I had, my personal ducks in a row. But it's made a difference this year. It was hard. So, and I just don't think they're attracted. Are you attracted to negativity? I see them as a very positive beings, very positive. I'll tell you, Sasquatch love being a Sasquatch. I can't tell you how many times I've been following a Sasquatch trackway and I'm like, look at this kid. He's having a blast. Look at him. He's jumping over here. He bounced off the tree. He broke that tree over there. But he loves this as a playground. The wilderness is his playground. And I've seen it in so many trackways. And a happy being like that, they love being a Sasquatch, wouldn't you? You're super fast, you're super strong. You have heightened senses that are like amazing, tracking abilities, knowledge, every bird chirp, every squirrel sound, every deer movement means so much to you. You're so connected to this world around you. It's amazing. They love being a Sasquatch. They love the water, they love the mountains, the rocks, the trees. I'm telling you, they love being a Sasquatch. So if you're a cranky, angry person and they're love being themselves, love everything about their lives, you're not gonna, right? It just doesn't match up. So I was hoping that being a man in deep, deep pain about personal garbage, I was told by some people maybe they'll come to help you. Maybe they'll be more attracted to you because they know you and they maybe love me and they'll see that I'm injured. And that wasn't the case. It just wasn't the case. So, but I got good footage, and I have really high hopes for next year. I just want to do more stuff next year, and I got to get my head in the game to do that. So here we go. Hunter Johnson says, "Yes, I know. I think that guy was just being a hater, honestly." Oh, we don't know who the guy you're talking about is yet. Pepper Fancy. Who is this Amanda lady, and why do I hear about her 100 times every live stream? Because Amanda is my right arm and she helps me out amazingly. I don't talk about her 100 times. Amanda is doing stuff though. Amanda's on here helping out. You can thank Amanda for today's broadcast and most of the broadcasts, because I wouldn't even do this stuff if it wasn't for her help and her the work that she does with me. Amanda is a hardworking volunteer that immensely cares about the discovery of Bigfoot. And man, is she, wow. I don't know what else. I'm not going to brag about her too much today. If you'd like to help up, I'd love your help too. Anybody who wants to help out, send us an email. Believe me, we could use help. There's more stuff to do. And we're just getting started. This is an enormous discovery that requires immense amounts of assistance. And, I help people and I sure would like help from anybody. So John Rodriguez has made a donation. Thank you very much, John. I really appreciate that. And YouTube really appreciates it because they get most of it. So, but I'm very grateful for the YouTube platform. If YouTube is listening, love YouTube. I really need YouTube, and don't block me or kick me off the channel because I'm very grateful. So Aldo, Todd, in finding Bigfoot, when the law got thrown at you, you must have been caught off guard. I was on guard big time. So no, I wouldn't say that. I was that log got thrown at me. If I'm not mistaken, that's after I'd filmed the Sasquatch. I was leaving. So I was very protective of my camera. I knew my camera had Sasquatch footage on it. I was extremely protective of it. it was on a DV tape back before we had, that was 12 years ago, longer than 12 years ago. So I had a DV tape. So I just I would have put that tape in a safe, but it's safest in the camera, leave it in there, turn the camera off, remove the battery, keep the camera dry, and watch for the Sasquatch, man. They were around me like crazy. So I was very, very, very aware that there were Sasquatch around there. That log being thrown at me didn't really surprise me. A Sasquatch had made contact with me. I was hiding in my ghillie suit after I'd filmed the video 4, and a Sasquatch reached into the ghillie suit from behind me and grabbed my ankle and pulled me out. Rolling around the ground as a Sasquatch pulled me out. So literally a Sasquatch had made contact with me, and my guard was through the roof, is an understatement. I was on the highest level of alert. However, I was also, I don't know, 5 days sleeping 2 hours a day, sometimes no hours a day. So I was freaking exhausted. You see weird stuff happen. That night, I remember staring at a branch, and the branch had a big like lump on it, and that lump turned into like a squirrel and ran off. Then it was back. So just stared at a branch for like 4 hours, and I was so exhausted and tired that weird stuff happens. You need sleep. I need sleep, especially when you're hiking. And if people go out on an expedition with me, the fresh air and all the wonderful water and everything you drink, it removes toxins. It makes you very sleepy. So hiking, sleepy as hell, exhausted, not eating properly, and not sleeping properly was, you're not. I'm at 50% at best of my abilities. So I was on guard as best I could be, and yeah, I think the log came out and I was reaching for my freaking camera, and then I hit record, turned my camera on. So I probably would have had a better view of the Sasquatch if I hadn't been so camera crazy, right? So, and now what I do is I have my camera memorized. I play with my camera in the dark all the time, not even by choice, just at night when I'm doing Sasquatch research, I'm playing with my camera. So I can touch my camera, turn it on, and hit record and just point it without even looking at the camera. That's really good advice, guys. You should be able to, and make sure your damn camera doesn't make any stupid sounds. There's a little speaker on the side of one of my cameras. Can't happen. That's really bad. When you're eye to eye with a Sasquatch, nose to nose with any wild animal, and you hit that camera and it goes bling, that's something's gonna happen. So it's dead silent out there, and then you're stared off, and there's all this tension. You hit power on your camera, bling. That's what it sounds like. It might be shocking, right? So hopefully you're calm and everything. But yeah. So anyways, that's the answer to that question, Aldo. Good question. Marianne Adams, in what way do you communicate with Sasquatch? Can they understand you when you talk to them? I think, Marianne, they understand tone. I learned about this from primatologists. They talk nice, hi, hey guys. Like when they're really getting close and around, I do that. That's just the primatologist taught me. And being around a big gorilla in a zoo atmosphere, they're freaking scary. Like the gorillas are only 400 pounds of muscle, and they're scary. So I talk nice. When a real Sasquatch is out there, twice the size of a gorilla, twice as strong as a gorilla, I talk real nice. Hi. Because I just don't want to be confrontational. So that's how I verbally communicate with them. I would say the other way I communicate with them is showing love for nature, showing love for the earth. I don't leave garbage, obviously. I won't bust things up and tear things up and wreck trees. I'll go smell the flowers without even picking them. I'll go eat the berries and love them. I'll go pick up medicinal stuff and rub it on you know what I mean? I go get wilderness crazy. Love the wilderness. That's communication. You better believe that. They're watching you. And you're communicating with them with your body language. When you see a squirrel and you pull out your camera and you smile and you take a picture and you love the squirrel and the birds, the Sasquatch are watching you. Now they know that camera, you pull it out, you point it at a bird because you're smiling and it brings you to laugh. Yay, I got a photo. That's why I get a little weird like that. I try to be overly expressive because I want them to blatantly see who I really am. I really am excited to get that shot of the bird. I really do think the squirrel is funny. They make me laugh, So that's another way to communicate with them is your body language, what you do, and yeah, just how you're in moving through the wilderness, man, they're going to look at you and know you're smooth or know you're just a loud dunce. And that is communication. Practicing moving in the wilderness fluidly, That's a way you're learning to communicate with the Sasquatch, because they're going to know, hey, look at this guy move. Look at the fluidity. Showing calm and serenity is communication. They make a sound and you don't go, oh! If you do that, oh my God, bye-bye Sasquatch. They're not going to be around somebody who's flinching and flighty and weird like that. All fidget. You gotta, when a crashing sound comes to you, you gotta move slow and react. You know what I mean? So you are the dominant species out there besides Sasquatch. You're the dominant known species. The bears and the mountain lions, you manage that stuff, boy. You manage it. You better know your terrain. You better know your animals. You need to practice all this stuff. That's communication with the Sasquatch. They're going to be so... Tracking on the ground is communication with the Sasquatch. Showing them you could track a deer and enough. I'm telling you, they're going to see, look at that guy tracking. You know what I mean? So, and really, really, really too, another good communication, because we're so stupid. Let's just face it. In the wilderness, man, people are stupid. They do the dumbest things. They have no idea. Even I'm in my infancy compared to what a Sasquatch would know and understand. Really, like, to them, I must have the intellect less than their 4-year-olds. Not even, well, I mean, the skill set and abilities that 4-year-olds have are going to be at my level most likely. So you need to show them that you're smart, that you know these things, that you know, that's all communication. I hope this makes sense to you, because you're dealing with a species you're gonna be communicating with them long before you ever see them, because they're gonna know you super well. A Sasquatch, I don't think they hardly ever. In fact, it wouldn't make sense for me for just a Sasquatch to pop out and show themselves to somebody. I think it's very rare. I think the vast majority of the time, the Sasquatch has been watching you and you've been communicating with him for months, maybe years, before you finally see him. You know what I mean? So you're always out there doing something, and just own it. Move fluidly. Be loving. Show calm and serenity and peace. Right? They're not gonna, if you're shooting things and killing things, but then again, they like hunters. I've seen many occasions hunters calling me saying, I don't know why the deer are getting herded towards me. Because the Sasquatch is hurting the freaking deer so this guy could shoot him. So that's kind of an extreme example, but I'm telling you, like, I've so many, because they're hunters. They go, oh, look, he uses that gun and he shoots them, and that's cool. So you just remember, with Sasquatch, they see everything. They know about hunters. They know about guns. I don't know. I wouldn't presume to say what they know about cameras, but guns, they know. They know it makes a big booming sound and the thing over there dies, whatever it's pointed at. So, especially in the United States, oh my God, do they know about guns? Because, man, there's a lot more guns in the U.S. than in Canada. So, and I have a lot of experience with Montana, and man, they have guns there. So, it's a whole different place when people have guns like that. So, but thank you for your question, Marianne and John. Thank you, Clay. Cool SoCal, there's Hunter again. Todd gets deep into the woods and he really is dedicated to his work, and that's why his success rates is off the charts. And you're right, Hunter Johnson, but it doesn't have to be that way either. I love all these people that are talking to me about habituation, where they live there and the Sasquatch are coming around in their backyards. I commend, for God's sake, if I could do it that way, woo, I'd be there. Man, is that awesome. I think people that are having that kind of success, they should be eclipsing me. They should be smoking me. Because, man, that's day after day. Like, that is, congratulations, awesome, amazing. I hate being the guy that had to do it the hard way. I tried lots of other stuff too, though, I worked on reserves. I went around and met lots of people. It's hard. It's just hard. So, and the main spot that I'm working at now is Radium. And it's only 2.5 hours for me to get there. So that's not bad, considering how remote it is, and that there's Sasquatch there. Flying log is disrespectful. Well, the flying log missed me, if that's what you mean by respectful or not. Do you believe the Sierra sounds? They sound wild. Okay, I think the Sierra sounds, that whoop, 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 whoop. It's a really whoop, whoop, whoop. Yes, I have heard Sasquatch do that. Definitely heard them do that. So the Sierra sounds are, in my opinion, totally legit. Totally legit. They're wild, if that's the ones. These are older sounds. They're from quite a while ago. And I have heard Sasquatch do that. Only a few times. I've heard them make many, many sounds. But there was one night, boy, where I heard that way off. In fact, what had to happen was it was going on for at least an hour, and it had nothing to do with me. I had to go, I was, let's say, 3/4 of the way up a mountain. In the dark, I was hearing these sounds. I went all the way to the top, and it was from way, like probably 20, 30 kilometers off, but they were loud, so loud. And that direction, there was nothing. It was like you're going north and the next town you're going to see is Juneau, Alaska. You know what I mean? So there were no people there. And the volume is what got me. Unless you had megaphones, and I think they would crackle. Why the hell would you be out there with megaphones making these sounds? Just for me, it doesn't make any sense. It's preposterous to think of that. I know people are skeptics and try to be skeptical. It's preposterous. And that was amazing. And I never got recordings of it. I turned my camera on, and the recordings are just weak, though. I think in the Sierras incident, if that is indeed the sound, I'm not 100%, but I think it's even from the 70s or 80s. It's old stuff. But they were pretty close. They were pretty close. I was nowhere near that close. And there was another occasion where I heard that when I was on a native reserve. But yeah, it was only like quickly. I heard it for maybe 5 seconds, and then I never heard it again. So more questions. So that was the Sierra Sounds questions. Thank you again for that question, Aldo. Clay, I'm in Nashville. Hello, Nashville. Sierra Sounds are very interesting, says John Binns. I agree. I think they're very legit. Todd, thank you, because I was going to put out a game camera tomorrow. LOL. Got some unexplained going on here in New Brunswick. Oh, New Brunswick. Good for you. Yeah. So I hate to say that for now. But you know, I don't hate to say that. I'm telling you, based on my experience, a game cam right now, don't do it. This guy from New Brunswick, where's his name here? I forgot it already. Anyways, the gentleman from New Brunswick, it's Martin Time Spook. Don't do it, man. Don't do it. If they're out there, they're gonna watch you put the thing up. And when your energy goes out there, you're gonna sneak out there, try to hide a camera, try to deceive them. It's a bad thing to start. You start playing those games with your teacher, and teacher's not going to teach you anymore. Teacher's not going to come around, you know. It's a gift. There are many other ways you can deduce this and not bother the Sasquatch. You can see their tracks. They'll leave breaks for you. You know what I mean? You can put a gift out for them. You know, those are all things, yes. And once you get this stuff going on, once you've take your time. You try to rush these guys, they're gone, and they're not coming back. So take your time. Build a relationship. You know, to habituate gorillas to the primatologist takes 8 years. And I think that's something along the lines of what I've noticed with Sasquatch. After several years, you know, over 6 years, 7, 8 years, they started to get really much better with me. And then I went and played a little game, got some footage, pissed them off. That's video 5. That's me pissing them off. You know, video 5 was one of the last great pieces of footage I had because they'd had enough of my crap. It took me years to get footage again because I really ticked them off. I snuck up on them. I was deceitful. I got those shots. It's not good, right? It just ticked them off. But even remember, though, you think, oh, you did it, I could do it. That was after me having been there for 6 years at least. So it's not like something I did that day. You're just going to shoot yourself in the foot. So those game cams are the worst thing right now. I think if you put a camera around, like I have a Canon SX50, they have the SX70, 80 now, I think. Anyways, that's a great camera. Just as an example, though, it hangs around my neck and it sits forward. So, you know, having that there, just hitting record on it is maybe not a bad idea. Hero cams are people brag about, they're crap. You can't see anything more than 40 yards away from you. So, because of that fisheye lens, they're like, they make it even further away with that fisheye view. So there's no zoom on them, and I have tons of problems with those things working in reality. So you're welcome. And your name is like Marty Time Spook, I think. So thank you. Don't thank you for the name, but thank you. So some central Michigan Bigfoot searcher talking about there's lots of unexplained activity in central lower Michigan. That is so cool. Pepper Friendly is Andrew's talking to him. Amanda is, oh yeah, we're just talking about Amanda. That's good. So, let's see if I find, I'm just looking for another great question. You guys have so many, and the screen keeps popping up funny. Touching through closed tent is paranormal? No way. Touching through a tent is paranormal. Yep. I don't make this a paranormal thing, guys. Like, if you talk about interdimensional traveling and ghosts and stuff like that, I'm just like, it's not part of my research. I'm a student of John Bennernagel and, well, mostly John Bennernagel, but Jeff Meldrum even, and they're scientists. And if I started talking crazy, paranormal, weird stuff, just not going to fly with them. And I agree. There's not a lot of stuff I've seen that is not being talked about right now. Their athletic ability is amazing. Animals have amazing athletic ability, and the Sasquatch are very wild, the most man-like primate. But beyond the infrasound and maybe telepathy, which is a real thing now, guys. If you don't think telepathy is real, you can kiss my butt. Third Eye Spy, watch it. They've been doing it. They know about it for years. So you get it. You know what? I never have trouble. The biggest skeptic in the world, give me 5 minutes with him, I'm going to show that he has telepathic ability that's actually stereoscopic. Like, you could depth of your telepathy. It's crazy that how amazing we have this ability. So, and anyways, but beyond that, it's just there. They don't dimensionally travel. They don't disappear in a spot. They don't do that stuff. So every time that's been brought up, I can disprove they don't do these things. They don't disappear. They just don't. So no way. Randy, I've got many questions about paranormal aliens connected to Bigfoot. Friend, I've seen Sasquatch up close. He's real blood and guts being, no doubt about that. That's cool. And I don't know. UFOs are real. Not sorry. I'm not a UFO researcher, but I've seen it. It's the real deal, guy. I haven't seen aliens or anything like that, but I saw. I was working on a native reserve. I was called because this guy thinks a Sasquatch tore his cow apart because it's weird what happened to the cow. I go look at the cow, and the cow's been freaking like lasered and pieces taken out of it. The spine was lasered. I'm like, that's not a Sasquatch. That's what'd you see? And then he talks about lights in the sky, and there's a burn hole in the ground where something landed, and the cow's all lasered up. I don't know. I saw this. It really happened. Maybe I shouldn't be bringing it up because I do wilderness research. I'm a wilderness tracker, and I don't do alien stuff. And I've just met with people that have crazy, amazing evidence, and the evidence substantiates the reality of that stuff. So let's not get into that too much. So I apologize. And the connection between them. Well, okay. If you're going to theorize or you're going to say that aliens are real, then they're going to interact with Sasquatch just like with us. So, but if you tell me something like I've heard somebody say, the Sasquatch went home, they stole the mirrors out of our house, they signaled the spaceships and went home. No, no. The Sasquatch did not steal your mirrors so they could signal the spaceships so they could go home. No, don't do that to me because it's been done to me and I get that stuff all the time. I don't mean to sound like a jerk. That's it. They're gone. What do you mean they're gone? The Sasquatch, they're gone. I've been talking to these people for a month. I think they might be legit. And yeah, they just took all our mirrors and called the spaceship and now they're gone. And I went, what? And then they literally tells me all the mirrors got taken by our house. We saw little Sasquatch footprints. They took all the mirrors out of our house and then they ran up the hill and they signaled the spaceships and they're gone. I could have asked more questions. I could have meant like, did they take the mirrors with them? How many individuals? Were there any broken glass? How did they take them? You know what I mean? I could have done that, but I didn't. I was just kind of done at that point. But I suppose I could have seen a few signs. This is really early in my Sasquatch research career. I was very naive back in those days. I had a lot to learn. And so I had the wool pulled over my eyes, I think. But yeah, so I just don't know the connection. So there's no connection. Hey, Claudia. Thanks for tuning in. Claudia Ackley. California Bigfoot is Claudia Ackley. So Sasquatch Fishing says, I don't like the alien theory. You're answering one mystery with another. Exactly. John taught me that. You don't want to start talking about Sasquatch as interdimensional travelers because we haven't even proven they're real yet. Let's not take something paranormal and make it more paranormal, right? So one, one paranormal to another, it just makes it less likely. You know what I mean? So I totally agree with that. And I don't do any other kind of... That was my opinion. My opinion, I have a lot of opinions about things. I like to drive Dodge trucks. That, in my opinion, they're a good truck. Don't start. Don't start. Or who do I like? Do I like Trump or not? I'm not even going to say. Because, oh my God, that'll start something. So we're just here for Bigfoot. I deal with all that political stuff on expeditions. Get a couple Americans who voted for Trump and not for Trump, and they just start butting heads, and it's, you know... But we're just here for the Sasquatch stuff. And hell, let's get political. I would take Donald Trump out. I'd love to show Donald Trump on a Sasquatch, but two big problems would happen. First of all, would anybody believe him? Second of all, the last little bit of hair he has would definitely fall out. They would scare the hair out of him, and I don't want to be responsible for the man that made Donald Trump finally go bald. So that was humor, by the way. Sorry, I had to throw it there. Claudia says, when people say get clear footage of Sasquatch, go out there and point at something. When you're face to face with the creature, we'll see how clear footage will be. Yes, it's hard. It's not easy. It's not even the mentality, though. You know, it's not just so much that. I mean, that's a reality that people forget about. Because people get this dreamy idea about things, about the romance of stuff, and then because they've seen it on TV or they've read it in a book. But the reality of it is a way different. Way different. That's what my expeditioners learn. It's like blood and guts and sweating and survival and fear and, you know, insects and scrapes and bumps and bruises. And, you know, that's 99% of the expedition. How legs burning and feet blistering and, you know, all the pain and suffering that you go through and how hard it is and the fear of the bears and the mountain lions and the tracks. I tell you, I bring people along. We're hiking and there's a fresh grizzly bear track. And I say, oh, there's a fresh grizzly bear track. And they go, what do you mean fresh? I go, it's so fresh. We took 10 meters. Look, this is him seeing us. This is him up on his two legs. This is him running away because he heard us coming. And their eyes get big. So he's over there? Yeah. We're going over there? Well, we were, but not anymore. Because we always give the bears and the mountain lions, it's their home. When there's a bear and a mountain lion around, we're done. We get away from there safely and we reset the day. You don't mess around with those wild animals. They will kill you. You will die. So don't do it. They kill people every year. That's why I'm safe. That's why I don't have any stupid issues. Because when there's a bear or a mountain lion around, that's game on. You're not playing with that. We have specific things we have to do so nobody ever gets injured, ever. And so we don't film bears. That's the only thing we can't film. I'll come out, take you. You can film the elk, the deer, the wolverines, the wolves, the moose. Film all that stuff, no problem. Film the Sasquatch. But not bears and not mountain lions. And I made an exception a couple times. If there's a moment, like this year, there was a moment where there was a grizzly bear 400 yards away from us. And, you know, we have the truck and the ability to escape. The truck's right there. We're all doors open. That bear is going to take at least 30 seconds to come near us. In 10 seconds, we're in the truck. In 20 seconds, we're driving. So that was an exception that I did this year. And we got beautiful footage of a gorgeous silver-tipped grizzly bear. Oh my God, he was so handsome. Tons of footage of him. And the woman that was with me, she just really wanted to see a bear. And she'd seen 10 black bears. She wanted to see a grizzly, and she saw one. And so anyways, but yeah, so what was the clacking sounds I heard? Well, I don't know what the clacking sounds you heard are, but for me, that was, I've had Sasquatch do that to me a couple times. That happened on an episode of Survivor Man. It's one rock clacking on another. So what I've discovered was they'll take a small rock and go up to a big rock and they'll clack on it. And they'll leave the rock there after they move away. That is awesome, right? In my case, with Survivor Man, he left the rock there in the spot where you could see that it was tapping on a bigger rock, and he put a footprint in the ground. And I heard that footprint happen. That was not a footprint as part of a trackway. That was him going, hey, you've been looking at my tracks, you're following my... Les Stroud and I, just the day before, found a set of tracks that was on the show. Real legit tracks. The Sasquatch saw us looking at those tracks. His tracks going, that son of a bitch found my tracks again? Fine. You want to see a track? Go up there, clack, 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 clack. You want to see my track, buddy? Boom! Foot in the ground. So to the point where we could see there was a track there. There's no footage of that because when Survivor Man woke up, it was in the morning. There was some condensation in the lens. The footage all turned out really crappy. So, which really sucks, but that's what happened. And so that's what a clacking sound is. It just clack rocks, right? So, and yeah, amazing that they do that stuff, right? And I've had rock clacking happen to me a lot. Dozens of times. It's very, very obvious. Get in your head. When you're out in the wilderness, there's no other creature that makes clacking sounds like, or rock clacking is very definitive. I know animals will make other sounds, but when you get that frequency, and you know, it's not it's not loud. It's not it's not like that because you can't really, or maybe they could, but they just never made it really loud. It's not the loudness that was an issue. It was the fact that I'm out in the middle of nowhere and something's clacking on a rock 20 yards away from us. That's how close that was. Survivor Man and I were sleeping together, and we slid down the hill like 5 yards because we were on this crazy slope. And that Sasquatch was no way. He was less than 20 yards away from us. Walked right up to us. And then we were sleeping. And Les Stroud, he snores. I snore, but I won't admit it. But he definitely snores. And I just imagine this Sasquatch was banging around making sounds, right? They're not going to do anything, not going to do anything. And then, clack, 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 wake up, you buggers. Clack, clack, clack. And I didn't wake up first. It was Les that woke up first. And Les started talking to him. Hey, hi. Just like I said to do, right? And he did a great job. Les did a great job. And then as I woke up, I heard Les talking and the clacking happening at the same time. And then Les was quiet. Then there was some clacking. Then Les talked. And then I heard boom in the ground. And then I heard bump, 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 bump. So boom. Bump, 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 bump. That's the Sasquatch stomped its foot in the ground. There's something going on with that stomp. Very important. I think the Sasquatch want us to call them boom. The boom sound, I think that's what my heart tells me is, hey, here comes the boom. They want to be known as that boom sound. I just felt that. I feel it. And when they come around, and that's like their stamp, boom. You heard that I was here. Now come see the track. The track is there like a stamp in the ground. The boom was heard. So it's like a calling card, right? You darn well know I was here. I'm telling you I was here. And then there's a trackway to follow. And you don't follow it too far. Otherwise, they will get upset. It's good to show that you know how to track. It's also good to show that, hey, I'm not going to track you anymore. Because that's disrespectful. This is your home, not mine. So it's great enough. What an amazing gift it is for a Sasquatch to come up to you and boom in the ground and tell you he's there. He's there. And I don't care who you are. I'm telling you, you hear a boom and you go see a footprint in the ground and there's a Sasquatch mark. That was a Sasquatch. So be super grateful for it. They usually, in my experience, they get pretty darn close when they do that. The furthest away, let me think here, happened once. It happened to an expeditioner, so it wasn't to me. So the Sasquatch was probably 65 yards away from me, but he couldn't have been more than 30 yards away from the expeditioner, and that's who he was doing it to. In fact, this is a little further thing. This was why I think they call themselves the Boom. So what exactly happened? So the guy, every morning, he was very spiritual. He was praying to God a lot. He had a little worship thing for the Sasquatch. It was wonderful. I loved it. I thought it was great. Very, very hugely spiritual. Anyways, but in the morning, he would take a long, huge piece of cardboard I had for the electric bikes. I just bought them. So this big piece, and he'd go like that. You'd hear that in the morning as he'd start the fire, to get the fire going, right? And it was, it's so quiet out there. You hear it. So that day, what happened was the Sasquatch came up. He started crunching some trees, and we looked over there. And I spoke to him. I said, "Something's over there. Don't move." And he heard me. And then we heard, boom! And then the Sasquatch left. And I was trying to think, what the hell was the Sasquatch doing? The guy that he was talking to, who makes the sounds in the morning with the cardboard, the Sasquatch calls him And what he was saying was, meat, boom. I'm so convinced that's what happened that day. That Sasquatch let that man get separated from me, not far. I mean, I had my eye on him. The expeditioner asked me to go over there and pray, and I let him. I was armed, thoroughly armed. He was in a safe zone, and I was paying immense attention, and everything was in place. All the safeties were in place for that day. There was not going to be a bear or mountain lion around there. So he was in a very safe spot. That Sasquatch saw that he had a moment away from me, and he said, I want to meet this guy. I want to introduce myself to this man. And that's saying something, isn't it? Because this man was praying to God, spiritual, on his knees, praying, loving of God, and the Sasquatch was attracted to that. That's a fact. Fact. So I have never done that kind of stuff around a Sasquatch, and I've still gotten some success. But that was pretty amazing. And he'd been there for about 5 days when that happened. And I was amazing. When they do those things like that, I think about Grover Krantz, Rene DeHinden, John Green. All these guys never had an encounter like that their whole time. Or did they? Maybe one of them. Each of them did Sasquatch research for over 40 plus years. So cumulatively, I named 4 people there. 4 times 4, 160 years of Sasquatch research, and they never had anything like that happen to them. Right? That was amazing. So where he saw a dark figure through the trees, but that's nothing. He saw a tall dark figure. That means something. Black bears don't run around on their hind legs. So a tall dark figure moving through the trees, probably 10 layers of trees back. So you're only going to see this dark movement. I've seen it many times with the Sasquatch. And then made that sound clear as day. Boom! And then I walked over to my expeditioner, very happy. And there was another expedition in another spot, so we all walked over. I told him, I heard, which doesn't make any sense to me at that point, but we heard the boom. That's a Sasquatch. He just stomped his foot in the ground. This is a very, very, very good thing. So just a wonderful occurrence. And that won't be in my documentary because I filmed all that because he was filming it, and he was with a network, and he paid for that footage. They haven't used it yet, but because they weren't going to do the show unless they had new Sasquatch footage, and they thought if they came out with me for 1 week, they would get Sasquatch footage. And I told them, nope, extremely unlikely to happen. Footage, it's one thing to see one. It's an easier thing to have them be around you. It's hard to see them. Footage, whole other level. And if you don't think so, you're still living in the Shala world where, it's hard. It's really hard to get those cameras functioning and on and operating, pointing in the right direction, and have it clean and no debris. Make sure it's functioning. No sunlight in the background. The lighting has to be right. Blah 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 blah. So it's a ton of stuff. So, BRB, need to turn on my laptop. This phone screen is too small. Okay. Have you ever experienced anything that doesn't fit in your hypothesis? Yes. Oh, my hypotheses, Dave, get destroyed so often. Example, the Sasquatch never come around in the rain. Never happened. Not one single ever day or night. Nothing has ever happened in the rain ever. So I'm out with my Special Forces firefighter colleague. He's tough as nails. He's going to the top of radium. Let's do it. He was on the let's go kick some ass expedition, and we were going to bleed. We were going to get to altitude, rock climb, kick some ass, get up to an amazing, incredible spot. But it's raining like crazy. By the time we get to the bottom of the mountain we wanted to start climbing, it was snowing. So we were like cold, and we knew we had 3 more days, and I know the Sasquatch don't come around in the rain. They don't come around in crappy weather. And the weather forecast was supposed to be sunny for 3 days, and it was already raining, so they were completely wrong. But anyways, we went back. In the 2 hours it took to get back, it got warmer, and it was raining significantly. But what had happened too, a little longer to get the story right, is we were in Nordegg, and it was crappy weather there. I hadn't been to Radium in a year. He says he was going to do the backcountry crazy stuff with me in Nordegg. He said nope, and it actually snowed. So we called back to base camp. They said the weather's good in Radium right now, and it's supposed to stay good. So we left Nordegg, went to Radium, and that's why we were there. So I'm in Radium. I haven't been there in like a year. What happens as we come out, I'm literally putting my gun away. He's in the vehicle with his window in my vehicle, but the window was rolled down, and a Sasquatch came out and snapped a tree. It sounded like a gunshot, but it was a tree break. Snap! Heard it clear as day. Then we heard boom, 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 boom. I'm like, that's a Sasquatch. There goes that theory that they don't come around in the rain. It was pouring. It was raining like crazy. That's why the firefighter dude was in the truck. He didn't want to get wet anymore. It's wet, cold, doesn't like it. So, but anyhow, we heard that Sasquatch. He came out in the rain. So that was a definitive, huge exception, obviously. It was raining. It's been raining for hours and hours. The Sasquatch came around. Why did I think that happened? I hadn't been there in a year. I've been with, and I don't know if they know I was at the other spot. Let's just not assume that. But he missed me. Oh, yes. I know who that Sasquatch was. That was Jake's little brother. And I think he missed me. I think he came around. And when I was leaving, he was a little upset. And rain or no rain, he busted that tree for me. And I was so happy. It was awesome happy. It was so cool. And discoveries happened because he did that. He was really sticking his neck out when he made that break. Because in there were tons of tracks, tons of tree breaks, and just tons of evidence of Sasquatch. Tons and tons of stuff. So anyways, that happened in the rain. And just it's always something like that. It's always, you know, I'll say something, oh, they never do this, and then boom, they do it. So, but there are, and you shouldn't, maybe that's the problem, is don't say never. At this point, it was one time the Sasquatch came around. He didn't interact with me after that. He took off. We were there for 2 more days, and he didn't do a darn thing after that in the rain. I think he just saw clearly that I was leaving, and I wasn't coming back. I wouldn't have come back that whole year. So, you know, that's how it goes, right? So, very cool. But, yeah. So, okay, one more try, Todd. Did you hear about the all blonde clan? No, Donna. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. So, I've actually never seen a blonde Sasquatch in my whole life. So, never. So I haven't heard about it. But you know, it would fall in with coyote bears, and you know, sure, it's a phenotype, right? So Sammy Chicken says, Todd, are you aware of V. Carter from the V part, raising of a young Sasquatch named Fox? No. As an adult, Janet Carter was greeted at V back door, where he grunted, wanting cloves of garlic used in his insect. Well, that's a lot of stuff, Sammy Chicken. So I don't know. You know, I don't think, I think you're grabbing at things saying that the Sasquatch would use garlic cloves as insect repellent. How do you know that they use it as insect repellent? Did you talk to him? Because I know that Sasquatch have very little trouble with insects. So I have reasons for that, but they wouldn't need garlic, that's for sure. And there are other things that exist in the wilderness that repel insects, lemongrass. And there's a chai leaf that you can eat, and that will repel insects just from you drinking it. It comes out of your pores. So, anyway, Sasquatch Fushing says, I don't trust most noises in the woods. Could be other humans, right? Calling for a Sasquatch, right? So don't forget that. That's a big part of our people out there doing that stuff. That's why where I go, we take people out of the equation. Honestly, never one single time, not once, has there been a human out in the wilderness where we are. Not once. Maybe you'll see, like, if there's a main trail area, we get back to there might be a person or two around there. But when we go in the bush, I have never seen another human being. Rarely do I see signs of other human beings, where there'll be tracks or some jerk left his garbage in a silly spot. Very, very, very rarely. In fact, most of the garbage I'll find will be like 10, 40 years old. So, but yeah, anyways, that's something to look for. So, Parkway SRG says, has an encounter ever made you cry or pee? No, I don't pee myself. And crying, I don't know. No, I don't think so. I mean, I cried when I got my ass beat by them really badly. I was, yeah, not like, but there were tears coming out of my eyes when there was an incident where they took turns beating me up. And, oh yeah, there were tears in my eyes from just the pain, like just from the pain, right? And yeah, so I had pain tears. Was I going? I don't think I did that. I was I was really in shock by it. But I can remember like getting my hand whacked really hard by a Sasquatch that day, and you make that sound, right, and it's like the pain was so bad that and I'd already teared up a little bit, I'm sure, from the other stuff that they were doing to me. So yeah, it was, so in that way, yes, I have. So, but no, not cried in any other way. So where can you view Les Stroud's Survivorman Bigfoot series? His website's been really? His website's down. The Bigfoot series, I have them. Send me an email. Shh. I'll probably get in trouble for doing that now. But yeah, just send me an email and I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up. So, but it's season 1 is only 2 episodes with me, and then season 2, what did he do? 6 episodes? He did 6 or 8. Let's say 8. Only 2 were mine. So I had 2. The first 2 were season 1, and what he did was he he wanted to do Bigfoot for so long, and he was so excited to work with me, and I was so excited to work with him. And he just threw them in with his other Survivormans and just told the network to go screw themselves. He's like, I'm doing it too bad, because they kept saying no to it. I'd been working with him for years, and everybody was saying no to us, and we weren't getting shows, and everybody was being jerks about it. So he just threw it into his show at the end of his Survivorman series and just duped the distributor. And those 2 became the highest rated Survivormans of all time. Of all time. It's Todd Standing and Survivorman. Season 1 are 2 episodes, and we killed it. We did amazing. I was so proud of our work. It was a wonderful collaboration. I just love those 2 episodes. And then that spawned the season 2, which was mostly not with me. And my episodes were great, but the other ones were not. And so there was no season 3, unfortunately. So yeah, but that's just the way it's mostly the network's fault. They pushed Survivorman to do stuff he didn't want to do. And I had some suggestions to make the show better, but they didn't want to do it that way. So they had their own little, executive TV minds, and it just didn't work out. So anyways, we'll just do one more question. Paul, Todd Standing, knows his stuff. I saw his documentary. It's legit. Thank you, Paul. This is one of the greatest mysteries of all time. I agree. He did not sound like a rocket. Hens had 2 rocks thrown at me. I think you mean has had 2 rocks thrown at me. He did sound like rocks. Okay. He did sound like rocks. Huh. Do you really feel that the government would actually protect them? I don't trust the outcome when they get found out about. Ooh, man, deep question. Well, they have to be a protected species. Yeah, they would. I mean, once they're acknowledged and accepted, they have to be protected. You can't hunt a Sasquatch. They're a sentient being. You'll die. It's not, don't do it. Hunting a Sasquatch would be the equivalent of war. It's not a hunt. You're not taking on these. This would be a war. You would go to battle, and it would be war. Why would you want to do that? Come on, people. My goodness, get over it. Like, no. Yeah, I absolutely. Why could they'd have to acknowledge them, and they would have to be protected. Absolutely. So, Dave Delroy, this will be the last question. Where can one view Les Stroud Survivorman? Oh, you already asked that question. So we'll do one more. Brad asked me why the Sasquatch looks so different. Oof. I just don't know. And actually, my answer really is, they don't look that different. In different lighting, their skin, it's dark brown, and it looks reddish to light brown, or darker brown, whether the light's darker or lighter. So that's significant. Sunlight coming through is significant. And then, but I think they look very similar. I don't see, I'm seeing more of these Sasquatch. When you're just looking at maybe the nose and the mouth, they're the same. The phenotype matches up. They're in the right proportions. Just they have the pointy head, the big shoulders, the muscular bodies. When it comes to the anatomy, they are the same. They move the same. The foot anatomy is the same. The shoulder joints, the way they stand, the hunch in them, pattern. The nose might look a little different. That's That's all I see. And that's just, they look different. I have a different nose than, my girlfriend's nose. I don't know, people's. So that's it. So that's what I have. That's my opinion on that, is I don't think they look different. Well, thank you so much, guys. Oh my God, we went on for an hour, almost hour, 30 minutes today. So fantastic show. You guys always make it amazing. So I'll be back next Wednesday. And I'm doing Sam Duty says Survival Man Bigfoot was on Amazon Prime. It was on Amazon Prime, that's right. But you could also just email me and I can help you out with that. So, and guys, discoveringbigfoot.org is the website.